So we'll just start with your opinion of the game, Coach.
Yeah, so I feel for the boys in the changing room because I think tonight they didn't deserve what they got. I thought for me, assessing the game, we started extremely well. First 25 minutes, we dominated. I think we created 2 chances in the first 2 minutes of the game. And we should have scored, but they didn't go in. One cross into the box and a fantastic header from Isaacs, and you find yourself 1-0 down. But boys kept going, kept working. We still created more chances. We had more shots, and then a fantastic strike from outside the box, and you find yourself 2-0 down. But my team kept going, kept performing, kept doing exactly what we had planned. Our structure looked what it was supposed to be. Our combination play was extremely good. I think Swallows assumed because we struggled against Sundowns last week in our build-up that they would look to press us, but today we looked controlled, in possession. We were exceptional. We created so many situations to get ourselves back into the game that sitting on the bench, I was confident that we would come back, and we did. We got the first one, and at half time I said, be patient, don't lose control, don't panic. I can't fault you for anything that you're doing wrong because we're doing everything right. Just be wary, obviously, in the box, tighter marking, especially from the crosses. You're not going to be able to prevent every cross coming into the box. Now it's about making sure you're marking nice and tight. But what we're doing going forward, we need to keep doing that. And I promise you the goal will come, and it did, you know. So I feel for the boys, because to lose the way you lose, with a penalty in the dying minutes, and the decision to give a penalty that should never have been a penalty, you know, and it creates this situation, unfortunately. You know, those decisions that get made cost a lot, cost more than just 3 points, cost morale, cost confidence, you know, and the punishment, I think, is very lean, in my opinion. But yeah, unfortunately, our job is we just got to accept it, and we got to move on. But harsh reality, coaches are judged on whether they win or lose. People don't judge them on, oh, but hold on, that game, they should never have lost. That game was a bad decision. Nobody thinks about that. Did they win? Did they lose? No, they lost. Okay, and that's end of the matter. So obviously, that's why I'm upset and I'm angry, because I don't think it's fair on the team.
Coach, you talk about being upset and angry, and obviously controlling the game, coming back from a 2-0 deficit and losing it in the final injury time. It's 5 goals in 2 games now, and perhaps maybe how concerning it is to see your team conceding so many goals in just 2 games, and how soon do you expect Terence Mashiko and Nathan Fasika to come?
Yeah, obviously it's very concerning, because the whole pre-season we haven't had really our back four, and during pre-season that's when you want to be able to work on it, and we're constantly having to make makeshift back four. You know, we would like to get back to the way we finished last season, because truth be told, the first half of last season was pretty much similar. We were conceding goals, we weren't that organized defensively, and right now, you know, there are certain areas and elements of our defense that needs to be rectified, you know. But it's like I said, when you don't work on it during a period that you need to work on it prior to the league starting, then it leaves you vulnerable, you know. So now, unfortunately, the games come thick and fast, and we've got to be trying to fix it in a very, very limited time.
Coach, we obviously don't have access to what you guys do in pre-season, but one of the guys who impressed you obviously was Luke Daniels. He played in the local LFA for Girls River last year. Like, what have you seen in him to suggest that he's ready for professional football?
Our second goal came from who? Did you watch again?
Yeah.
Who did it come from?
I don't have a replay, but
Okay. Ball gets played forward. Luke brings it down under control very, very well. Puts it out wide, we put in the cross, we score. It comes from Luke. You know, he's exceptional in terms of his movement. He's exceptional in terms of his technique. And what I've seen in the friendlies, obviously, that we played during pre-season, he can cope at this level. You know, we played Maritzburg, we played Sekhukhune, we played Golden Arrows. These are all PSL clubs, and he scored against those teams. And he competed against those teams. So that's where I get my judgment from. I don't get it because, I saw him in the Diski or I saw him playing for the SAB. It's when he comes and trains with us, how does he adapt? Physically, can he compete? And when he does that with us, then I want to see what he does, obviously, against other PSL opposition.
Coach, just another youngster who impressed Patrick. Is he sort of like the guy who planned for him to succeed? A guy like Tammy Keezer, for example. Also, how good is he now and where can he?
Tommy has a lot of respect for Patrick, and Tommy actually thinks Patrick's going to be his replacement eventually one day, you know. And that's a good thing to have a captain like that who's always speaking to Patrick. They have a good relationship. And tonight I played him as a left back, and I thought he done really, really well for around about 60-65 minutes. But then obviously fatigue started to come in. They started to make these runs in behind him. So we decided to make that change. But other than that, I thought tonight showed good composure on the ball, good combination play with Darwin, looked to get forward, looked to be positive. His defensive attributes also very good. He's aggressive in terms of his pressing to win the ball. And so yeah, I see a bright future for Patrick because also he's a hard worker. You know, he deserves the chance that he got tonight.
Zola.
Coach, you're talking about a lot of games coming in today, the draw, you go in Congo, tough trip that, just how are you going to try and find the balance, because obviously you didn't have that last season and it's a new sort of element to your schedule?
No, I think it's going to be obviously important. I said this in my last press conference, the recovery period in between the games, you know. What has been so important for us has been the 6-week preseason, so that we can hit the ground running. And like I said, our team so far, I think only now, towards right at the end of the game, guys that played 90 minutes last week, Craig Martin started cramping, and possibly his clearance could have been better if he wasn't cramping, because that actually led to the ball being played into the box because we didn't clear the line. But that's the first time that we've seen anyone struggle with fatigue. You know, so I think we've had a good preseason. So important is going to be the recovery periods in between. You know, and the fact of the matter is it's going to be like tomorrow. Tomorrow, we just send the guys to the pool. They go and do recovery session in the pool. The guys who didn't play, those go to the field. They do a proper training session. And then obviously we assess from there who will recover in time for the game against AmaZulu, who won't. It's a little bit behind the decisions in terms of our changes today, why we opted to make those changes. There's a lot of science behind it now. You know, the guys you've seen, they all wear these GPS vests, and that gives us a lot of data in terms of how quick a player will recover or how quick he won't recover, you know, and it all depends on, has he got a base? And that base comes from what we've done over the 6 weeks in pre-season. And it's, why didn't I play Phillies last week? Because there was no base. He only had 2 weeks of pre-season. Now, is he going to be able to play 90 in a space of 7 days? It's not going to happen. You understand? So you've got to manage the players extremely well. And this question keeps coming up here in South Africa, but I think you journalists need to do similar to what I do, is go do some investigation and go and have a look at Liverpool, go and have a look at Manchester City. How many games did they play last season? And go and have a look how many players they utilised. And then come and tell me, yeah, coach, our idea of 40 players, 36 players is a good idea. And you will see that it's a lie, it's false. City used 16 players last season, that's it, 16. And they played 60-something odd football matches.
So you won't go into the market?
No, because it's like I said, I'm not, what am I going to have 36 players and I'm only utilising 16? What's the reason? There's no reason for it. Unless injuries, that's different. That's a big difference. If you don't manage your players correctly and then you start getting major injuries, then obviously you need to have, but if you manage them correctly, you don't need to have these massive squads.
Julian, this one just for you as a club spokesperson, right? Can you just give us an update as to what's the situation regarding the FMB sponsorship and PSL? Can you just give us an
Yeah, at the moment there's no update. The chairman is dealing directly with the PSL on it, and yeah, he will advise us when there's been decision made and what the decision is. But for now, we play as we've planned. That's it.
Coach, you said you're not happy with the referee. Out of maybe 10, how do you rate him for the game today?
Hey, I'll sit in front of a DC, so
On that note.